tinengado tomar gom det gyongwi en tari gom ditu ta nawande tamje ene gyumadang melam tabu pardo tabu rang sem en yatin truwik nawatamle ene töndu ene dember truwik ngobo 직장매 근데 탐제 melami 다낭가는 소 melami 나와 냠수 용신 바이 딘디 인 야트는 돈바 데네 인 삼로당네 데스요 나로낭스.
So we're going to begin this afternoon with some meditation. So for this session, what we're going to meditate on is we're going to reflect on, give rise in our mind to the sense that all of these appearances that we are experiencing are not truly existent, that they're like dreams, that they're like the appearances that appear in the bardo. So all of these things are just the confused appearances of the mind. We shouldn't take them to be inherently true. They don't truly exist, not one phenomena that we're experiencing. So with this kind of intention in our mind, let's rest.
다 되는 단ang가나서 되네 버도 쪽에 나네 ene hiwa da chiki parto ne hyoshimbare da ge chegyu de ne tene da chiki ge tene chamchorla tene ra lebare chiki ge ene ya tene chi himbe kapge ene tene chamchor de tene yago chi chongna 즉 라마라 대바 무그 ene semjenla 즉 chambata 닝제 ene 배 랍 종나 약슈 종나 아니 셈기 ngola ene yatinem mayang pe ene yatine kyong himbe ngangne ene chetto bayina ata tende ene yatine troltu gres tesonda tene ta chike chamjorte be manor wachikta dikap ke yabo yungya ke tadik tadane ene ya nangyote kechembore.
So this morning we spoke about the different bardos, and we've come to the fourth one, the bardo of dying. And as we said, this is very important because of this critical juncture between this life and the next. And during this time, if one develops faith towards one's Lama, devotion towards one's Lama, if one meditates on or engenders loving kindness and compassion for beings, or if one is able to sustain the very nature of mind without distraction, then it's certain that liberation is possible at this point. So since it's so critical that we approach the dying process in an unerring way, it's important that we prepare now.
다때네 다낭에 휴바나예 다 코로와라더니 칭외기 뉘어대 다 진짜 시주더래 되네 차고 깨베 같은 진바 잡이게 요대 다 소소게 에너지 루당 룽조 아니 조당 어떤 김제 어떤 담당 냐다 알아서봐 다 대조는 아주 진바 요래 다 진바데 에니야 냐바도 에니야 되네 제고래 진바 매와지 고래 단 진바 잡이게 요 응보 대탐제 에니야 되네 다 라마 당 에니야 니수 마시바 에니야 ngomba mela 되네 만다르티 소르도 에니야 되네 폴로게 맥바데 세보 제니야 나주 개츠모레 치기깔.
So that which binds us to samsara is our attachment. So what do we attach to? We're attached to our body, we're attached to our friends, our family, our wealth, maybe our status, fame, things like this. These are the types of things we're attached to. And it's important that we cut these bonds, that we cut these fetters. It's important that we be free of them. So one of the things that we can do to help lessen or rid ourselves of this attachment, at the time of death, it's very important that we offer these things away. How do we offer them and to whom do we offer them? We can offer them to the Lama inseparable from the protector Amitabha. We imagine that we're making a mandala offering containing all of the things to which we are attached. It's important to do this in a very clear way.
땅와이난다 야 라마를 푸바이난다 이거 파 땅 차르바이나 단데 녜 인삼비게 로데 이 용거 말와스 대송다 때는 녜 인삼비게다 데네 다든즈비게 로데 메바레 대송자 이니야트네 다 풀베게 데네 인즘바데 이네티 인제기 히그노데 아니 풀베게 데네 소나명 야첨보 이네 조데 다 텔라테네 아니 야 가서 힘감을 제베게 데네 요
So for example, if we have just an ordinary thing and we give this thing to somebody else, whether it's a gift to somebody we know, whether it's an offering to a lama, once we've given it away, then we no longer think of it as being ours. So in that way, just the mere act of giving it away can serve to rid us of this mind that has attachment or feels attachment towards this thing. So, not only that, but by giving it away, we can accumulate merit, and this can be a cause for us to be able to take birth in a pure realm. So this is a very important thing to do.
Tene ta nganang sola ene ya tene che chedon rabo. Ta laman rabo. Ene chedon rabo. Damzik zangma. O tezoge ene ya tene ta soso ene chinrobe nekab la. Ene che ta ngodo rabo ene ya nange chungna peyang di pendo chimbo yore. Ta kirang ene ya tene chinrobe yore. Ta sem ene ya mayings yang yang maris. ane ta ndomba ane ya sanje hopa me jengara ote dewa jingi shingamla ta nyabardo ane ya tine ndobe ta lota che kores ngomo hopa mela nyang tabane ane tine sorwa tops se mayings o tinde chene tine nawala ane dra chung chene ane lamge chongna ane teki yang pendo chimbo yores ta chen ndobe nekaptila reta pande chen ndobe nekaptila.
Further, when we're in the process of dying, it can be very beneficial. It's actually very important to have people who can remind us of what we want to do at that time. So maybe we have Dharma brothers and sisters, maybe we have access to a Lama. If they can come into our presence and they can remind us, like, okay, now you are dying, so it's important that you not be distracted. Direct your mind to the protector Amitabha and the pure realm of Sukhavati. Supplicate from the depths of your being to be born there. If these kind of instructions or reminders can be gently whispered to us or imparted to us during this time, there's great benefit. So again, just to be clear, I'm talking about when we're actually approaching death. To have this kind of reminder is very important.
Ta nganang so penna nangbare. Tine nangba hemba tsamdu maase nganang so in the penzu ta chuji in the chatter yadare. Brother sister de. Chuji in the chatter. Dorjik in the pundore. Tine tesonza and a young che to do that. Chaja chembuke nyamne yo na yang tezo ngoto nangna yakbo shada yore nawala ene ya dra chung kitene ta kirang chindu yores ene chiwa ta osal chujiko ene ya tine tamar hibik rangwala ene mayang bachene nyambar hya nang ase jana ene ta nyamya ke ngola ene ya tine mayang bachene ene ya shok ase tinde jene ene yang ngoto nangju.
So most of us here are Buddhist, and not only are we Buddhists, but we've been practicing together for some time, so we can say that we're brothers and sisters. We are Vajra brothers and sisters in the context of the Dharma. So to have one of our fellow Vajra brothers or sisters remind us of practice is very important, and it's very beneficial. So maybe one practice Mahamudra, maybe that's one's main practice. Then at the time of death, it would be appropriate for someone to remind the dying person or you of these instructions. Okay, so now you're dying. Now this is your opportunity. You want to rest your mind in the luminosity of the Dharmakaya, in the ordinary mind without distraction. So do that now. To have that kind of reminder is very important and very beneficial.
Then sabardu ta kirang ge chizogla ne lama oba me ngus hyok di yore and da lama oba me la in ya tin sorwa in ya zejik to tab lama oba me in ya tu tawanyen in maji in sem mayengse at in the young ne yang do in the kale in ya songju ke simbores ta ngada chu hingi tu ju nyamne te di yongge te so na tin de song ta yang chu zan ke meleke bena kirang so ina ni na la kirang so ke pawa aman dawo yang mena ine che punja ndawo tende ine tuju che nangbe chu la ndraba zan meba chu zan mi hige chu zan ke meleke tende che hien ro yo na yang ta ko okma che ndo de ine yang che 다잉의 휴바나기 아미 대와레 엄마네 빼명세 안에 상게 게 ene 센다고 드네 다제 창줍센바 남기 게 ene 센다고 딘데 에네야 나와라 에네야 다나 팬도 요레스 디 바자 야네 ene korang ene ya ne pardo ke chunang le ene ne trol to bala hira 팬도 요레스 대체나 거 셈젤 팬도 요레스 대도 낭교 계체 모레스.
Further, for this type of practitioner, for anyone, you can remind them. So now think that above your head is the Guru, the Lama, and Amitabha inseparable. Supplicate from the depths of your being. Supplicate one pointedly. Don't forget that the Lama in the form of Amitabha is there. Don't be distracted. So to remind them again and again in a gentle and skillful way is very good. Now, the person doing this, it's important that they have some experience with the Dharma, that they, have some understanding of what they're talking about and some experience with practice. Now, maybe at other times you'll be in the presence of someone who is dying that isn't Buddhist, or maybe they don't like religion at all. It could be one of your parents or relatives. Anyway, someone with no connection to Buddhism whatsoever. Even for them, once they have died, it's not inappropriate to then recite the mantras of Amitabha or Chenrezig or the names of Buddhas or the names of Bodhisattvas. We say that by doing so, this establishes a connection with them. It plants within their being some imprint which can be of benefit. So maybe in the bardo, in the intermediate state between life and death, it can reduce some of the confusion and the frightening experiences that they would have during that time.
ene mehin robe ke kapsu en din ramla ta semla dongar jene ngowala sopa ke jabne ene ya ta be nazu dongar ke ene ya ta mazo ne ene ngana su ke jabada ngowala sopa teso tawa ne ronge mares de jena ene page me korang 나네 힌롱의 코랑 인양 샘 팜게 요레스 샘 팜파 텔레테네 인양 람상 샘 톡네 인양 애송도 제야 그때 년가 요레스 때네 베다 ngoala sopa ke jabala sopa tezo mewachen 샘 hiwatang jambo tende yongwe ke 탑제네 ene 상제 상샘 남지 ke ene chen takbala sopa tezo je na te는 다기 휴바나 히레 냠레 용게 저 차자 첨부게 있는 냠내 연계소라 에는 모두 낭 냠내 시다 맹계소나 상계 창점 남지 그 센다 되네 어바메 신감라 있는 다처럼 로스 어디네 게 특별해서 될라 몰람 톱세 어딘데 모두 양내 양도 다 낭주 백해체 모래 당하나서 힘백갑게 내당때 백해체 모래 대 야보지 정화이나 참조한다고 되더라고요. 야보지 정화이나 아니 기타게 있는 팬도 첨부 신감 깨왔다. 아니 두주에 주 야보 dum게 이나양 아니 책게 그냥 참조할 때저 해당상 대원다고 아니 저게는 야대 샘 마가바다고 근데 샘 촉힘을 갑라 희성와이나 내송도 게 그냥 가요레스 그래서 때는 맨ong 파레스 대당 안아서 제양 저당 낭바스게 샘나 샤교 케치 모레스.
Further, when someone is in the process of dying, and especially at the very moment of death, it's important that we not disturb them. It's kind of common for people to become very distressed when losing a relative, and if there's wailing and loud crying, especially for a practitioner, and maybe for others too, that's unfortunate, or what to say, it's not the best circumstance. So it's better if they can be in a very peaceful environment where they'll be able to work with these types of instructions. If they hear a lot of wailing or they're worried about the people, etc., if there's a lot of commotion, then their minds are going to be disturbed. Maybe they become very sad, and that could lead to, lesser rebirths than otherwise might have been possible. So it's important to create a very peaceful and gentle and conducive atmosphere for the practitioner. And again, if it's a practitioner who has a lot of experience with Mahamudra, then to remind them of those types of instructions while they're dying is very important. If it's someone who maybe doesn't have experience with that, maybe they can work with something else, like focusing on Amitabha, the Lama Amitabha inseparable. And for others, you can just recite the names of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, or maybe the mantras of some of these Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So like I said, this is very critical at the time of death. When we have this junction between one life and the next, it's a great opportunity to be able to go to the pure realm. So it's important that the situation be conducive and it isn't disturbed by wailing and things like that. So as Buddhists, it's important that we know this and keep this in mind.
Tene 지나서 땅 로종 두개 냠내 난거 요래 엔 로종의 땅라 송요 봐. 다 시위 내가 라양 맞아. 저 샘제 탐제라 엔 잠바 땅 닝제 얘네야 곰네 엔 다 샘기 내로 어떤 마도비 왕기 엔 통만 배파네 엔 다다 파도 엔 드네 깨가 나지게 엔 동al 장매바지 엔 야용심 바래 다당 앞에나 친구고 요래 집이 동안데 엔 야다 샘제 탐제는데 답이 동안 연구 요래 엔 샘제 탐제다 집이 동안 내 집이 동안데 거쳐버려 삼산으로 동네에 과제 아니 다 말랑라 인데 즉 통마에 받는 사비게 되네 개백게 뭐 카려나데 아니 샘제 탐제를 땅 아니 샘제 탐제 있네 그때는 다 깨가 나지 동ар 탐제서 랑게 네 동네 맥바 되네 동네 맥바 있네 곰 힘백게 터네 있네다 쳇터바이나 다 집에 게 있네 담가 탐제 나네 때 초도 길바이 송도 왔어 독도 있네 냠내 제텀나 다배 혈당 원자 첨보레스 동네 맥바 잠영제 장주비 샘곰 힘백 터네 되네 옥든 로텀나 혈아야 보래.
Further, as we know, there are many of you here who studied the mind training teachings. And in the mind training tradition, there's advice for what to do when we're dying. It says at the time of death, if we can be meditating on loving kindness and compassion towards all sentient beings, this is very good. So we can think about all sentient beings and how from beginningless time, from beginningless births until now, they and we both have experienced immeasurable suffering. So by thinking like this, while we're in the process of dying, we can make the wish that may all of this suffering that all sentient beings have been experiencing, and especially the suffering of dying itself, may the suffering that I am experiencing right now, my suffering of death, may that, by my experiencing it, may it alleviate all others from having to experience it. And further, all of the virtue that I have gathered throughout my beginningless births until now, I offer that to all sentient beings. May they partake of it. May they be free of all the suffering of birth, old age, sickness, and death, and partake of all of my virtue. So like it says in the instructions for the mind training practice, the best thing that we can do when going through the process of dying is thinking about all sentient beings, giving rise to loving kindness and compassion, and doing this visualization of what we call sending and taking, sending out our virtue to others and taking in all the suffering of them, making the wish that they be free of this suffering. If at the time we take our last breath, if we're doing this practice, this is said to be one of the most profound things one can do in terms of carrying practice to the death process.
당안에서 대망체와 등상 맹강나라 이네든 희요래 맹강나라 신도도 때네 기다 그런 라랑왕 요 말에 다 암지 주겠더니 라바래 엔데와 다 나온다 카다 저도 파이드라면다 또 엔데지 젠메인 드라면다 잡 엔데 베다 트르베칼라 이네든 트르쪽요래 데제도 거라 기다 라랑왕 요 말. 저땅 안도 나모이나 내조게 네 백타 나자 속ser 히타 맹게 다 나자 요대 용거래 현대가 내가 얘나 네 대답 히타게 내조 맹게나 소소 상황 때 여바이나 되네 다 소소랑게 야랑 톱나 약효래 다 소소랑게 랑마톱나 얘네 로반다 볼라 얘네 야 조조라고 되네 통담표 양만나 효이에 받 살아파네 얘네 승기냐 답도 성제 권양에는 답이 tor 얘네 독세 얘네 냐네 얘네 시비 내가다 옥체로요레스 옥달라테네 다 첸로베가다 초체 나우 초다 나우니 요레스 땅 안아도 땅 라베 왕들나 첸네 다 옥주마 땅네 하라스 되네 다 소르고비야 매요 말스 옥파 땅네 소르고비야 옥등보 파 땅 다 되네 소르고비야 요 말 다 들라 초체스 다 옥체 타래 안 안아서 맹강 저거는 다 거시 타래 센테네 람상 로 인디아트니 배 구조당 잡는다 지겨스 문에서나 다도 로드 라바 톡냥 말았어 구조마다 전에 또 세대 향마섬 향구여스 샘 그러네 다 가서 차보적 있는 나로를 여르스 대 나오 맞지 난게 뭐마 단어 차보적 제여 말했어 다디가 나와 가르쳐고 여르스나 저우셨나 깔람세 아니 나와 깔보적 있는 야 깔람세네 벤다와 샤용외게 네 나와다고지 샤용 그랬어 대 나와 깔람세 대 유는 뭐 내가 말했어 촉스제 대 ngōhi di kāla ina ngōhi yātā nāwa kālam xiārsōng sāmbā dāmbācha ina di laptop na yāgōres. Da chū tūgyō ñamle di gōm ñamle jāngi ina di dāmbā lapsigires. Ina da gōm ñamle mēngi ina xiār gu yōde da kālam xiārsōng sāmbā nāwa di tēngi māres. Da di jēsū tini yāng marlamse nāwa marbocha xiārōngores. Bē nāwa tamche bē marbo bāri yōngā nāki marlamse. 딘데체 하는 거래. 대에냐다 윤통동 저래서. 다 디제스 어디니 나람스. 안 나와 탐제 나 탐스 이니야 나람스 아직 혀 그래서. 갈람 나람 니그 파트. 다 데라티네 이 디갑라티네 샘디 잘르고요세. 다 윤능동 내봐요 말았어. 가게 이니야 향마젝스. 가게 향마 니세. 가게 추조 가게데 되는 나라다. 배잘
Now, these days, many people end up dying in a hospital. And if you're in a hospital, then you kind of lose some of your choice or freedom to some degree, right? They have instruments hooked up to you, or maybe you have tubes and IVs or things like this. And this can, I suppose it could increase the difficulty and whatnot. It wasn't always like this, of course. Like before, when people were dying, maybe if this illness wasn't too strong and they still had a little bit of wherewithal to them, they could actually sit up when they knew that death was approaching. And even if they couldn't sit up themselves, maybe people would help them sit up sort of as straight as they could. And if it wasn't possible to sit up, then the advice is to actually lie on your right side in what we call the lion posture, or the lion pose, which is the posture that the Buddha took when he died. And then as death comes, what happens is we say that the breath stops. And we talk about the outer and the inner breath, or the coarse and the subtle breath. These are the same thing, either outer or coarse, and inner and subtle. So for this outer breath, or this coarse breath, this just means, when you breathe out for the last time, usually it's a little bit long, you breathe out and then you don't breathe back in. So we say that this coarse or this outer breath is now finished. However, there's still a subtle or an inner breath or inner wind that has not ceased. So, further, before we move on to that, and if you're in a hospital and you die, you take your last breath, then they figure, okay, the person is dead and that's just it. Now they'll move the body, they'll do things, they'll touch the body, etc., right? But for our tradition, in the Buddhist tradition, we say that death isn't complete. That's just the coarse, outer death, so to speak, or the outer wind ceasing. But the person's life force hasn't left the body yet, actually. So it's best not to touch them, just to leave them be. And actually in the past, where in the more traditional cultures, they might be left for as long as 3 or 4 days, but at least some number of hours. And then what happens is this subtle wind, or the subtle breath, goes through its own process. And the first thing that happens is there's what we call appearance, or the white path, literally translating it, sometimes also called appearance. And what this means is that everything becomes completely white. It's like you're in bright white moonlight. And it's not going to last very long. Perhaps it goes pretty quickly. So for people who know about this, who familiarize themselves with it, who have some awareness around the process of dying, maybe you'll know in that moment, oh, okay, this must be this white path, or this process of appearance. Now for people who aren't Dharma practitioners, they've never heard of this appearance or the white path, so it still arises for them, but they're not going to recognize it for what it is. Once this takes place, something called the red path, or something that's called sometimes flaring or increase, is going to happen. And this is similar, except now the experience is white. It's like there's a bright red light, and that's like the totality of your experience. This also probably isn't going to last very long. And then after this, there's what we call the black path, or sometimes called attainment. And here, it's like this thick black darkness where there's no sense of light whatsoever. And at this point, the mind becomes unconscious. And how long this unconsciousness is going to last is not certain. It could be longer, it could be shorter, it could be a couple of days, it could be hours. It's not sure.
다 디제라 때네 다 히오사르야 차는 거래서 히오사 다 히오사 가르스나 다당가능서 이제 차자 첨부 곰 힘있게 이니야다 타마르 히빅 네로 랑고 살스케 이네 가도 단다 곰 돼야지도 어때 디갑을 해야 거래서 다 가르세요 나와 탐제 이니야트네 남가 야 타바타부 남가 야 타바타 베스도 그렇지 남가라 트렌다 콩나라 소파 매바 ndabe 매바 니메게 매바 토랑 나도 남가 공부 뭐상이 여봐 나와 탐지 대답을 내 향을 인주때 소도 쌤 그렇바래서 릭비랑 당래 대답을 내 야트네 다 릭바 코랑 에네페 다 제르 릭바 제르 동반이 릭동 디니야다 될라 와서르스게 대샤르야 될 히오서르샤르스 다티 저당 그 샘제 탐제 쓰나 대힌 로비네가 히오서르데 즉 깨직질 차르고 요레스 뭐 흰기요 말레스 가르치 뭐 마이케르나 뒤준테 콜 곰리요 말레스 다 차자 첨부 당 독파 첨부라 소베게드네 냠내 용거지나 야, 다 뒤져 냠내 거 있는 야트네 나는 쌤지 내로 있는 곰데베 냠내 다 햄바 ngohin 거 요레스 뒤져 나는 다다 람지 값수 차자 첨부 곰비게 내로텔라 되네 람지 오사르스 그래서 다다 나나서 차제 곰바텔라 람지 오사르스 값 대두 있는 야트네 샤룡아텔라 히 오사르스 그래대 다 힐람 오살 마운테스 히 오사르테 마타부 람지 오사르테 푸타부 아니 마이기 빵라 펀족 바나히 아니 힐람 오살 마우직도 데 다팅알라 에네트네 냠내 용게 팅알라 네트고 요레 다 라마 다 냠내 투주 차자 첨보도 도바 첨고 냠내 빼 야고 용게 라마에나 패제네 dunra ni sam ene pongo ene ya ta kujo ma ba ne ya tukdam hyose ka se chap do je dong la ba nyam ya a tu ju na ke ze gom tap ta ba na ke chen ene tong de yor dunra ni se shama chu se ta ti tukdam be ta ka yor se na subu ke ene ya dong be ke dang te ta nyam go yo ma 당 마냥 배 털라 뒤줄래 배 당야 삼 배. 시제다 댐바. 에네 소볼 치마카야 요 말스. 에네 가서 닝도 니 카도라 도 라바톤 트여레스 트. 트여레스. 아다텔라 토담 효세도 에네 네로 추지고 에네 오살 딩알라 에네트네 냠버 샤데 요레스. 다 뒤따부 이니야테네 치와 오살 추디고로 상제스 대도 다 상제도 요래 치와 오살 추디고로 상제스 다텔라 나저 추니 파르도세야 라보당 스파 파르도세 파르도 오마트 뇽고 마레스 다랑 거라 이니야 야르티 상달스 그래 야르티 상달 테네네 이니야 다 깨지저 상제는 요래스 히라트 람데 이니페 추처보도 랍쳐보래 디갑라 모히 디갑라 곰타바이나 다 됐다고 용야한테 다다 내가도 찾아서 곰 냠내라 주는 구열마도 냠내라 에네 디갑라 곰리면은 대용 말했어.
So, and then what happens after this is the luminosity, the luminous nature of mind will arise. And we call this the let's say foundational, or the basic luminosity, the luminosity that is basic to our being. So now, while we're meditating on Mahamudra, when we're resting in ordinary mind, resting in the nature of the mind, and we have some experience of this luminosity, we call this the path luminosity, as opposed to this fundamental or the basic luminosity. So these two are different. Yeah, the fundamental luminosity is like this complete experience of the fundamental nature. And when we're meditating on it in ordinary life, we're sort of approaching it and getting a taste of it, and we call this the path luminosity. So what's this experience like? This experience is like experiencing a sky, an early morning sky, that is free of all clouds, free of all sediment or dust. There's like no sun, no moon, nothing. It's just a clear, empty sky, like a sky at dawn. Very bright, very luminous. And this experience is actually the spontaneous manifestation of the radiance of the mind. It's just the experience of the nature of mind. It's an experience of just naked awareness. It's an experience of awareness, emptiness, inseparable. And this is what we call, again, this fundamental luminosity, or this basic luminosity inherent to our being. Now, for all people, this arises when one goes through the death process. However, for most people, they're not going to recognize it for what it is because they haven't developed any familiarity with it through meditating while they were alive. However, for people who have practiced and practiced well the traditions of Mahamudra, the tradition of Dzogchen or Ati Yoga, then it's possible for them to know this for what it is and to be able to recognize it and rest in it. If you have these experiences in your daily life, if you've experienced this path luminosity through your practice in this life, then when this basic luminosity or this fundamental luminosity rises, you can recognize it for what it is. We say this is when the fundamental and the path luminosities meet. Or sometimes we refer to this fundamental or this basic luminosity as the mother luminosity, and that luminosity that we experience through our meditation as the child luminosity. So we say it's like the mother and the child luminosities being reunited or meeting again. Sometimes we also talk about it in terms of the child returning to the lap of the mother. So for someone who has proficiency in this practice, then it's possible when that arises that they can rest in that experience for a long time. So if it's a lama, somebody who's quite proficient in the practice of Mahamudra or Dzogchen, at the time of death when this experience arises, for the best ones, it's possible to stay in this state, which we call tukdam. We don't really have an English word for it, but anyway, let's just say tukdam. If you can rest in this tukdam, some can do it for 1 week, for 2 weeks, maybe 10 days, whatever. After they die, sometimes they died in meditation posture, or sometimes the attendants will put them in meditation posture, and they can remain in that state for quite a long time. So then you may wonder, well, how do you know if somebody is remaining in that state or not? I mean, just because they're sitting there doesn't mean they're experiencing that. But there are very clear signs, actually. First of all, the complexion of the body will not fade. They can look just like they looked when they were alive. It doesn't look like a corpse. Further, when someone dies, very soon afterwards, the body starts to decompose, and there's odor that comes. For people who are resting in the state of tukdam, resting in this clear light nature of mind at the time of death, even after 1, 2, 3 days, 1 week, 2 weeks, there's no odor that comes from the body whatsoever. Further, sometimes at the heart center of the body, even though it's been hours or days since the death has occurred, there can still be some warmth that can be felt there. So these are all very clear signs that this individual is resting in the nature of mind. And what they're resting in is just that. It's the nature of mind. It's the luminosity of the Dharmakaya. That's what they're remaining within. So what we say happens at this point is, this is the luminosity of death. This is attaining the Buddhahood of the Dharmakaya at the point of death. And for people for whom this occurs, then as we said before, they don't experience the remaining bardos. They don't experience the bardo of dharmata. They don't experience the bardo of becoming. It's liberation in that moment. It's like instant Buddhahood at the moment of death. It's a very incredible, blessed, powerful opportunity. And so if you want to be able to take advantage of this opportunity, what do you need to do now? Well, you need to engage. You need to become proficient in the practice of Mahamudra. Without deep familiarization with these practices, then no chance.
대답은 난조르파 인야다 치기 옥체네 네 향마주 쫀 간다고 요랬대 에는 낭라 인야 대답을 띵한데는 효도 요랬어 다 디기 따라고 대양 치기 따라 에는 남과 탐제 뭐상에 남과 당마 되네 양 자라 소바 인야 자존라 소바 라면다 히아바 되네 양 매도라 소바 양 차르심부 봐봐 에네 맹가노서 탐제 녀고 탐제 에네 셈 당성에 기뻐요 봐 어때 치기 따라야 된다 해야요 송고데스
Not only are there these clear experiences for this yogi or yogini who's resting in this state for 10, 15 days, whatever, there are also signs that arise in the outer world or in the environment. Oftentimes, the sky itself will become resplendent and clear, just like the sky that we described a moment ago, completely clear. Oftentimes, rainbows and other sort of like rainbow images will arise in the sky. The people around will find themselves to be, everybody will be in a very pleasant mood. It's like this mood or this energy affects the experience of beings around. And sometimes a very light rain, we call it in Tibetan a rain of flowers, a very light drizzle will fall in a very auspicious way. So these are outer signs that some yogi or yogini is resting in this state.
다변나 dunda ni in tukdam hyungge dunda sum in tukdam hyungge tinda yoris and tukdam da trolsane da kande ha korsena dene da변나 dunda sum da ken yorba ta ne meba those in da gomkyo ne hyogdi yoris tingenze da nelo gozar kingang le zechik de hyogdi yoris nanjur pade da dene tele trol yungdu ane da kalse namjinda da supon le chal sarbares di ka ta de dene 나공 예용네 상샘 간마르스 드네 인야 간마니도 습된 춘다고 보용 그랬어 드네 다 고소 수보들 든 트마카 그랬어 네 수부근 당 가상 당때 야보 여러바 딘 당때 네 냠도 그랬어 드네 가상 아마 배나 당보 있는 독스 동보였더니 그 종사도 된 독스야 음악 공도 그랬어 수보 차당 막 공도 그랬어 다데 든 차상에는 야다 종사를 따랬어.
So when people rest in this state of tukdam for 2 or 3 weeks, whatever, so how would one know when it ends? And there are also very clear signs indicating that it has ended. So while they're in this state, it's very stable. They're resting unchangingly, very with the same posture, with the same complexion and everything, resting one-pointedly in this samadhi. And then when that finishes, sometimes the namshi chi namshi sungsungay. Namshi sanadi number shepa.
Number shepa. Da hindu traffic namshi dan dodam hyog dengete nyungma lenjik gibeke den hindu traffic den longdang sam yenme yo tere. Da gewa chimalin dongge ku tere.
And when this happens, there's a very subtle aspect of the mind, which is this this subtle wind within the body, which we say has not stopped, right? We said that this outer wind has ceased, but the inner wind hasn't ceased. So inseparable from this inner subtle wind is again this something that should be better translated than co-emergent wisdom. We have this inseparable from this wind. And then this exits the body, and it exits the body in what we call the white and the red bodhicitta. So then from their nose come like a white fluid and a red fluid. It actually exits the nose, and you can see it. It's like a physical manifestation. And this is a sign that inner wind has ceased, and then that which would travel to a further life if they were being reincarnated exits in the form of this red and white bodhicitta. Further, this complexion, which we said before, hadn't waned, that they didn't get pallid, they didn't get pale, they had a quite even more resplendent complexion than before. This will now start to fade. The body will start to smell. Perhaps they were sitting upright before, and now maybe the body will start to slump, etc. So these are all signs that this tukdam, or this resting in the clear light nature of mind at death, has ceased.
다 내나 다 등상 빼는 체력 다 개발소게 드네 깨와 치마 다 요마르세고 깨와 치마 개랭 말와 깨와 nga마 치마 개랭 말 얘네 다 딘디게 내 당제 이야 드네 다 톡담소다 드네 향마망보 내야 드네 드마야 치 옥네 체사래 다 히타라 봐 얘네 히드 트라비게 이야 드네 샘직다 나로다 단도 내들여래 다데 켄타로도스 즉 제나 다 깨와 치마 요사래 고스 다 깨와 치마를 유여세 깨와 치마 롱게고 다 히드 트라비게 있네 샘 데다 루테 트라네 아니 깨와 렌도 요래 대송도 애니야다 생각 망보적게 등상다 깨와 치마 폐제 요사래 세네 되네 다 가서 켈 말레라네로 근데 거기다 세력 발렌 지금 등한 뿌릅 걸어와 뿌릅 다 단데 뿌릅 브레스 깨와가 치마 용이야 걔니야 요베 따노 뿌릅 대야지 되레스
So, of course, most scientists in the world, they don't believe in things like future lives, past and future lives. However, there have been some scientists who have actively studied this and some scientists who just happen to be in the right place at the right time who've experienced beings resting in this nature of mind at the time of death. And they don't quite know what to do with this. Because they know that the outer breath is finished, then they would say the person has stopped breathing, therefore they're dead. However, some of them have actually felt the warmth at the heart. They have seen that the body hasn't started to decompose. They can fairly clearly see that what usually happens when the breath stops and death has occurred, these things aren't occurring. So it has given pause, and people have written, some of these scientists who have experienced these things, they've recounted these, and so now they have some doubts about whether there's more to the world than they thought before. Maybe there are such things as future births. Maybe that whatever it is that is keeping this body from starting to decompose, maybe this is the thing that would lead a being to have another birth. So these things are actually happening in the world today.
다데 나나서 차자침보도 조바침보 냠내 용게 수게 다 제당데 독세래 델라양 에네야 토마는 고 쫑게 송나 야보여래 다 카게 베냠네 타침바도 야보 용게나 아니 고 째고 말 소소소소 고 토도래 뒤뒤도 곰곰 가래 디가블 텐데 다 옥디마 첸로베 내가블라 지금 때스 나사 작본다고 지 용거여래 디가블라 람상 에네야 티나 고마답나야 테마타도 에네야 티네 초토네 무토네 에네야 곰나라 랩노여래스.
So for people who do these practices of Mahamudra and Dzogchen, it's good to have that introduction or the reminder right at the time of death of what to do. For people who haven't consummated their practice, this is very important. However, if one is like a master of these traditions, then, this has been the nature of their experience for some time, and they're not so reliant. They don't need that instruction. They will know what to do sort of automatically since they've become so familiar with the practice in their living life. And it's also true that for others, that when the breath finally does stop, this is a fairly traumatic experience for many people, and that can disturb the mind, But once that traumatic experience has passed, then their prior familiarization can rise to the fore and they can rest in that experience.
나저파티 and the 퐁보테 라베 토기요 말에 르기요 말 잠보진 야구요레스.
And for some yogi or yogini who's doing this practice, who's resting in this state after they have died, it's important that we don't touch the body, that we let them be and let them remain in that state.
다데 냠레 다 용게 베 나저파 랍게 이네테 치빅 솔테레 다 정이나 다 이슈바나게 에네가다 대답을 차자세 모두 도바치면 냠레게 톨레 돌마도 나양 아니야 다 힘감라 뜨는가 대바 세직베 거네 아니야 다 가르시네 아니 대마타도 양 바도 용무 거바치네 힘감을 떼는 게 뜨나 요레스 다 강다량 아니야 뜨네 다 치기갑라 힘감라 모남답네 게마도 어디니 내로 그가라 에네드니 샤마도 바체네 다 찌당게 메나 찌당게 단데다 믹세레 냠레 용게 깨자레 다 가능서 대도 곰거래 곰리체 거래 디갈 다 집에 내가라 세 마양 바체네 내로 차자체 뭐 ngala nyambra kya nga shi samba tinde chongna ta yagyure ti kala gom thup sigre 다 곰텀나 되네 다 되네 돌도 요래 다대 돌마텀나 다 샤마히 나이 삼라 다 바도 나와 되네 추니 바도서야 돼 네 용거래스.
So again, for the highest caliber practitioner, that's what we just described, resting in this nature of mind at the end of the dying process. For the middling type of practitioner, maybe they can't do that, but they can, supplicate the Lama and direct their mind to the pure realm, and maybe they can travel to the pure realm and not have to experience the rest of the bardos that would otherwise ensue. And if they can do this, then there's another opportunity. That's another opportunity to escape the rest of the bardos and take rebirth in a pure land. So for someone who can't rest in the nature of mind at the end of the dying process, for someone who hasn't made the aspirations or isn't able to propel themselves, their consciousness to a pure realm at the time of death, for people who aren't able to do this, then what happens is after this process has finished, then the fifth bardo is going to arise, and the fifth bardo is called the bardo of the Dharmata.
다 추니 바르도 값스 아니 다 야르와 되니 히드클라 어디니 다 라자스요레 히드클라도 되도 에네르베 힌도 아니 니 당보 니 바숨바 히반데 아니 야 차르용 거요레 다디 히드클라 되도 에네 차롱도 아니 다 사대다 탐제 랑게 셈게 나와래 현도 아니 셔롤 트바메바 랑게 셈니 라이게 에네트는 남발라 샤리용와 진짜보죠 에네 또 트바이나 히 트바이나 에네 디게 돌도요레스 다텔 또 마도바체네 아니 텔라야 직자다 낭다게 라이게 에네 페나 에네야 단다 넘버 낭세 야와 에네 다 통마르니 당보되는 때는 상제 넘버 낭세 에네 꾸이 남바 에네 때 차림 그랬어 대당 냠도다 어서 히도 나장 에네 짜 첨보 어서 배 맥 메소 받아보게 어서 샤림 그랬어 양 어서 에네 배 짠당 제제 어서 디 냠도 양 어서 라이게 에네 어 에네 야다 어 총총세 마 돈도게 어 nda보다 깨베게 어 에네 양 짠당 매바지 에네 때네 냠도 차림 그랬어 다 짠당진텔라 짜 엔테네 에네 짜 매바 dim light ndawotiyo tele ene ngadu yang sem cha song ba ina ene yang dundu kilule ke andabo tinde ene anjugo yore kangdar ene dra tabu ena chi ge namba so so ta yo ma de dra pe den druk dra pe druk tong da che ene dra trak ba tu che le dra pe dra tabu shit don je ene ya ne be so bar ka be dra hyuk chen bo den do ene ya soryung yore dra tang u tang serse oser o tezo ina tujiga charudu tatela ngangdra tang jigdra meba atene range ane semje nangwa ham range yedam de hla ine yatine charungwa to thobaina ine tene tholdoira to madamna ine yang pa sipala tene chamro yaktin nyanga yores.
So during this bardo of Dharmata, we say there are what we call the 100 peaceful and wrathful deities that will progressively manifest over the first day, second day, third day, etc. However, when these manifestations are arising, if you can know them to be what they are, which is nothing more than the spontaneous or the natural reflection of your own mind, if you can see these things that arise as nothing more than projections of your own mind, then you will actually be liberated in that moment. However, if you don't realize them to be nothing more than projections of your own mind and you become afraid of them, and it's a very intense experience, so it's understandable, then there's the danger that you will continue to just be propelled by fear and wander the bardo, or take your next existence in samsara. So the first thing that arises actually is the manifestation of what we call the Buddha Vairochana. So what happens is there's a very strong light, very bright light, so intense that you can't even bear to experience it. And this is actually the light of the Buddha Vairochana. But at the same time, as you're experiencing this light that is the manifestation of Buddha Vairochana, there's also sort of a dim light, as Rinpoche said in English, more of a pleasing, more agreeable light that also arises. And if you're attracted to this more agreeable light, this is actually a mistake because this is actually leading to, they say, rebirth in the animal realm. So these two lights arise at the same time, one of them very strong and intense, the nature of Vairochana, and one of them very dim. So it's really an overpowering experience because along with these lights, there's also other experiences like maybe 1,000 claps of thunder, all like crashing down at the same time. Very difficult to forbear, very intimidating. So, however, if you can recognize this too is nothing more than the manifestation, a projection of your own mind, and if you can realize that these sounds and these lights and these experiences to be manifestations of your own mind, or if you can recognize them to be like the nature of your yidam deity, if you do a yidam practice, through this recognition, there's an opportunity for liberation. However, if you're afraid of them and shrink back from them, then you're going to continue to wander, take birth in samsara.
That data page ya dunda chigering la, didn't he be lato, didn't independent number nangzi, Mijoba, Regin John de Obama, to be tin lato nam, and Edinburgh, Hido in Etni, Nima direction to charring your race. That is charring to go, Bena in the number nangzi capsule, Momahi ne, in the truth song by Ina, Yang, Mijo Pilato, Nimajima Charwood. Telayang and in one Mahipa and the young truth song by Ina, didn't Regin John de, or that in the Scotch body. There's a heavy lato. That in the Nima Japan Rabochilla, then the Trok lato. That Buddha Heruka. Or the name in the Bazar Heruka set that the Trok lato. Latin trap book number, yard some chart, Tokyo, and the China to Sonja number, not Namdenke, Jackson wrong wicket number J. Oh, Tizo in the Atin, Rimbe, Hindu Young, Trolato Charwood. That day lato that time the young and also pay them getting injection. Somewhere then troll then corral then camera. Young Tada Tamje Jan, then Garangi Dam fly. Then Garangi and Atin, same near and Atinata, Salia, charring water, Manang Sam G and Atin, Chondra, Sam G now in some, and those check that, Carse, some Cortobaina, he baina, then they trolled with it.
So this happens for about 7 days or so, and after the first appearance, of which is the nature of Vairochana, then the other Buddhas of the 5 Buddha families will arise, such as Akshobhya, Ratnasambhava, Amitabha, Amoghasiddhi, etc. So you have the same opportunity with each of them, actually. If you don't recognize these lights of Vairochana to be what they are, the nature, the manifestation of your own mind, you have the same opportunity to do so with the lights of Akshobhya, and then as well with Ratnasambhava, Amitabha, and Amoghasiddhi. And then if you don't recognize any of these to be what they are, if you are scared of them and confused by them, then this process continues. Then on something like the 8th day, there will be some wrathful manifestations that will appear, such as Buddha Haruka. So they have frightening forms, they're carrying like weapons, and they're very scary appearances. But again, if you can not be afraid, recognize them just to be manifestations of your own mind, there's the opportunity for liberation. And if you don't, then you're going to continue to wander in samsara. You can also think for any of these appearances, if you think that, oh, this is not only just the nature of my mind, but if you can recognize it to be your yidam deity, if you have some special yidam that you practice and you can recognize these appearances to be the manifestation of your yidam deity, this is also an opportunity for practice or an opportunity for liberation. You're thinking, oh, this is just my mind actually arising in the form of my yidam deity. These are just projections of my own mind. And if you can recognize this or think like this, again, opportunity for realization.
Sanga in gola hyone, and that sanga get in the yidam kla, mango in the atine wang top yore. Flat as what they're going to do yore. Penna in the gombo chadu makala penna chendo, then chadu dab, tindaje in the young mananso in the atine, Nilam la tangwaina, and then go chadu the job to celebrate and be in the tebajig the mato, the Nanta jeg marwa. Or better nanke, Tadangananso in the Atene, Sanga, Jude Ketini, Flat Cho, Tomo, Jacksuroma, Mangboja in the Atene and J. Yore, tell a tabajig yore, 안 대도 있는 가도 그때도 냠내 지겨요. 다데 상이 아니야 춘이 발도 가라 라다다 탐제 차롱도 가라 아니 대바지 그래. 어때는 대바지 대는 가는 게 예담 하래 내 가는 그 샘니 아니 라이게 있는 남발 샤룡마래 삼 된대지 있는 딱 삼로 코트 바이나 대도 된 졸도 보여. 다추 찌땅 추 있는야 다니 유메 학바르도 되는 상하게 라자네 있는야 제 만용 고 만용 아니 된대게 있는 강사 저거라 다 변나 마가라서 저 물람 땅와이나 샤르와이나 직다 지그라 봐 직다 지그래 아니 초 인적스러워 아니 샤망보 여봐 차망보 여봐 천자망보 된다지 있는 양도 빼네 데 플라탄 된데 통만용 제 만용 칠라 물람 나라 땅나 있는 직다 지그래 대바 지그 말봐 가와 건 직다 지그라 봐 된 직다 지나 안 되는 마다 가르쳐 걸와래 공어 마이 바래 툴통 말에 랑게 샘 랑샘 플라니 힘발라 힘발 마이베 왕게 안 걸와래 참도 요레스 다 뺀다고 생각도
For people who have entered the fold of the teachings of the secret Mantrayana, perhaps if they or you have received a lot of empowerments and a lot of different yidam deities, and maybe you have some familiarization with these practices. So, for example, if someone has familiarized themselves with a practice of one of these wrathful protectors like Berakchen or Chogdrukpa, the six-armed protector, then if one were to experience like a form with which they were familiar, a form with which they know is a manifestation, a wrathful manifestation of an awakened being, then if you were or they were to meet that wrathful looking form in a dream, you wouldn't be scared of it because you know what its true nature is. You would think it's a great blessing or a great fortuitous occurrence. So forget about fear, maybe faith or other positive states of mind would arise because of your familiarization. So for people who have entered the gate of the secret Mantrayana, done these practices of the different levels of tantras for these wrathful beings, have some experience visualizing them, have given rise to some faith in them, and maybe even consider them to be their practice, who consider the arising of some kind of image like this just to be a manifestation of their own mind or to be their protector or practice, then this, of course, is going to be an opportunity for liberation. However, for someone who doesn't have familiarity with the Buddha Dharma in general or doesn't have experience with the different manifestations of yidams or protectors in the secret Mantrayana, who hasn't visualized them, who hasn't meditated on them, hasn't even heard about them, then for someone like that, if you had one of these images like Bernakchen or the Chogdrukpa arising in your dream, naturally it would probably be a frightening or a scary experience. You know, some of them have multiple faces and multiple arms, and they're carrying weapons, and their forms are very frightening. And of course, forget about faith, they would be terrified. So in the context of the bardo, if we don't recognize these things for what they are, if we don't see them to be as a spontaneous manifestation of our own mind, then what's going to happen is we're probably just going to continue to take birth and reincarnate in samsara. So that's what happens if we don't recognize them to be what they are.
그래, 까마종아도 동바샤. 네와, 야요나 까마종아 동바이스.
Okay, so now it looks like a good time. We'll have a 15-minute break and then we'll come back.